Okay, we are about 3 seconds into this, and tonight we have Mike, the January house. The guy is fantastic. He is a reseller that I have been getting to know over the past couple months. I've been watching his YouTube channel. He makes videos pretty often. I think that that's important to be a content creator, that you put those videos out as often as possible. I'm going to let some people filter in here. I see that we already have buying space. I appreciate you being here tonight, Myra. I see that we already have. Sorry. Oh, no problem, man. It happens. So I'm going to turn this over to Mike, and I'm going to have him talk a little bit about himself and introduce himself. So I turn the table, turn it over to you, Mike.
All right. Hey, thanks, John. Thanks for having me on the show. I'm very glad to be here. Yeah, my name is Mike, and my YouTube name is January House. I am a full-time reseller. I sell on platforms such as eBay, Mercari, Amazon, Bonanza, TrueGather, Poshmark, and I sell on some local apps like OfferUp and Lec. In central Pennsylvania, just outside of Harrisburg, the capital. Next week, I'll be 42.
You don't look 42, my man. You've been doing something right.
I just started social media really in the middle of March, like kind of right when this current situation that we're in started. So a little mid-March, I started a YouTube channel, and I'm also on Instagram, if you follow me on Instagram. And like John said, I try to make a video once a day. Sometimes it doesn't work out that way, but most of my videos are what sold videos, things that I've sold in the store from the day before. But I do have a number of haul videos, things I've purchased either through online auctions or some private picks. I think it's very important to let other people know what you do for a living. I am a full-time reseller. And especially in certain situations like we're in now, and I live in Pennsylvania, so we don't have thrift stores open, and there's no real yard sales going on, and estate sales are like hit or miss. So it's hard to source here. But if you know, or if people know that you're a reseller, sometimes they'll contact you. So I have videos on that, what I've picked up there, and then on Sundays I try to put a video out where I share some tips and tricks of things I've learned along the way, but I'm no expert by any means, but I just try to give back. I know a lot of people have helped me, or I've watched a lot of videos over the years, and I just like to try to give back a little bit of that. So I try to do that on Sundays. So that's about it. And I just started recently on Tuesday nights at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, having some live auctions on my channel. So if you're around on Tuesday nights, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, come check me out and see what I got for auction.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's the auction idea. I'm always either early to the table with no follow through, or late to the game, and no matter how hard I try, I just can't get no traction. And that auction game was something that I was going to do about a year ago. I started collecting people's names and was registering people. And I overthink stuff. I made it way too difficult, and I psyched myself out. And now I'm like, maybe I'll try to do some auction stuff down the road. I'd like to find a partner to go to do an auction with, and like bring some really cool stuff to the table. I know that like there's several people like you and Delden and the rest of the people. There's a freaking
like Global Voodoo has one.
Global Voodoo, yeah, he's doing them. Jason Deason, he's doing them. I have to snap sometimes. That brings me back to where I was supposed to be at. But there's several people out there. Some Mike, Storage Auction Pirate. There's a lot of people out there doing them. And if anybody wants to name some people in the chat, that's awesome, because I support all of those people. I think Grimes is thinking about doing some. But that's really cool. So that's a good way to make some money. And I think that that's pretty cool. So how long have you been reselling, Mike? How long have you been in this grind?
Right. Yeah. So I've been reselling for about 5 years now, but really full time for the last, say, 2.5 years.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty
I love it. It's so much fun, and I learned so much. I love learning about new things and new products that we're selling, and it's just a really fun time for me. Like, and now with the YouTube and Instagram social media stuff, I love learning about that as well, making videos and interacting. I love the interaction with the people in the chats like this, and meeting people like yourself. It's just really fun for me.
Yeah, right. It is fun. I'm going to give a shout out real quick to a couple people. The next question I'm going to ask you is how long have you been making creative content? So you just answered that.
Yep.
The next one is, I'm going to give you a minute to think about this in your head.
Okay.
Who is your favorite YouTube that you're currently watching? And it besides me,
Right.
because,
Besides you.
I'm everyone's favorite YouTuber that comes on the show, but besides me. So I'm going to give you think about that, and I'm going to give some shout outs because there's some people that were here and some of my faithful followers. First of all, I'm going to give Bill Tackett, Flips to Pay the Bills. He's a member of the channel. Mm-hmm. And I really appreciate that. And Just Me Kathy, she is a superstar. That girl is killing it. She is murdering it. And I love her. Man, her videos are freaking awesome. Yeah, she gives me diabetes just watching all of the food that she's pulling out. And she's got the heart of a freaking elephant because she puts that stuff. I was watching the video today and she was donating it to those little boxes where you can give back. So if you guys are not subscribed to her, go over and hit her channel up and check it out because she's a sweetheart. Andrew Conrad, he's a buddy of mine. He is from West Virginia. That dude he doesn't make YouTube content, but if he did, he would be a superstar. Harry Humstone's awesome. Love him. Love watching his live shows. He's a great guy. Callie Reseller is with us tonight. April Davis, one of my awesome moderators. Then we have Gate City Pickers, another fantastic YouTube channel. Be sure to go check them out. Nikki T, I like Nikki. Nikki is awesome. And it looks like we have Mike, the Thrifting Goomba. He is with us. He's going to be on, he's going to be on a show with Tommy. See, I have to snap sometime. And Buffalo Picker. And that should be a pretty good show. Echo's with us in the chat, and Marie. I love Marie. You support me on all the social media platforms, and I can't tell you thank you enough for all that you do. I read every one of your comments, and it really means a lot that you are such a supporter of the community, and that you're just always there commenting and helping us out. We have Mike Thrifting Gooba. He went over and he went to his personal account, which he is also a member. If anyone would like to become a member, I'm not pushing it at all. I'm just letting people know that you too can have the Jason Static emoji head. If you are a member to the channel, it's $1.99 a month. And the very first month, if you subscribe for the first month, I'm going to send you a sticker for free. And I've actually got some really cool stickers that are coming in. They're my Quote the Raven Never, or Quote the Raven Nevermore. And no one else is going to get those stickers but the people who are members on this channel. So I appreciate all that. I hope that's enough. That's more than enough shout outs. So I would like to get back to the questions. Who is your favorite YouTuber that you're currently watching?
Yeah, I do watch a lot of different YouTubers. But I guess my favorite right now is Global Voodoo, Mike Franco. If you're not familiar with Global Voodoo's channel.
Oh, I love Mike. Yeah,
he's been around for a long time, and he tells it like it is. And I think in this business, you don't always have to agree with somebody or all their opinions or all their points or whatever. But you have to appreciate someone that tells it like it is, because I think, you can go to YouTube and watch a lot of people that blow smoke sometimes. I mean, I'm not mentioning any names, but, it's not always, sugar and rainbows out there, right?
Right, right.
So, and Mike, his channel, and he'll be the first one to admit it. He's not for everyone. He says it. I'm not for everyone, And sometimes he curses on his channel, but it is what it is. And he's drinking and he's smoking sometimes, but and sometimes those videos get taken down. I mean, YouTube has their way, I guess. But I appreciate his honesty, and I appreciate just putting himself out there. And he's been around for a long time, and I've watched him for a long time before I started really reselling. myself. So he's probably my favorite reseller YouTuber out there. I also watch the 9 Pound Hammer a lot. Deldon is a good friend of mine as well.
Deldon's been here before. I got to meet Deldon in person, and that dude he's as big as Texas. He and his heart is awesome. I love Deldon.
Yep.
He is one of my favorite people. Him and Pat Dees, well, they have a special place in my heart because they've both been to my store here, and of course Jason Static, but he only lives like 30 minutes away, so he don't really count. But but yeah, that's really cool. So yeah, Mike, he might not be one that comes up a lot on people's list, but if I know that if you're calling Mike out, you're saying that you respect his honesty, man, that makes me respect you even more. Because you're telling the truth. I mean, there's no political, you're not pulling political points by mentioning his name, but the fact is that he is a solid YouTuber and he gives a lot of great advice. And Mike, I know you're probably not watching, but if you do watch this at some point, I love you, brother. Which platforms do you currently resell on, or are you selling on?
I currently sell on eBay, Macari, a little Amazon, not much on Amazon, Poshmark, and then there's a couple like the smaller platforms like Bonanza. I don't know if you ever heard of Bonanza and TrueGather. And then I sell locally on OfferUp and LetGo as well.
Our OfferUp and LetGo is like, I live in a rural community, so a lot of those don't work really well. Mm-hmm. But one of the things that I had the foresight to do like 8 years ago was to create a Facebook group for my local area, which is a buy, sell, trade page. Mm-hmm. And I figured that with my mouth, I would end up getting kicked off of it if it wasn't me running it.
Right, so you run it.
I'm going to set it up so I run it so nobody can kick me off because I've made a bunch of money and I've sourced a lot of items. Yeah, right. Always be thinking. You may think I'm dumb, but maybe that's just an act. But I do sell on Bonanza. Oscar, my buddy Oscar, El Cubanazo, he told me, and Batman the Flipper, he's like, just list your stuff over there. Those guys have really helped me in my reselling game. They're like, just it's free. What does it hurt? And he has sold a large item over there that saved him a considerable amount of money in fees. And he's like, you just never know what's going to happen. So I have about 1,500 items listed on eBay. So I just shared them all over there, and it worked out really well. Have you heard that Facebook and Instagram are talking about setting up marketplaces?
No, well, Facebook has their marketplace, right?
But they're going to set up shops to where you can actually, like, the more social media following that you get, you can put stuff in your shop and you can sell it. So, like, if you're a YouTube content creator, you could put like clothing in there, like design, stickers, merch. I guess you could still put like your little knickknacks in there. If I don't want to pull the gun out because that'll probably get me demonetized. But put like your little American Thai beanie baby in there or something like that. And I'm pretty excited about it. I need to do some research. A Rockstar Flipper did a video about it earlier, so I'm going to go watch that more in depth and maybe message him and ask him some questions. Yeah, would that be something that you think you would do?
Yeah, definitely. Hold on, I'm making a little note here for myself. See, that's why I like this stuff, interacting with other people, and they know things. And
I see you got Kevin's little Inaman back there.
Yeah, I see you got two of them back there.
He sent me. This was before Kevin blew up. He sent me a whole box of them, and those are my two I'm keeping because he sent them to me. I had to pay for them. It was back when he had like 300-400 subs. He sent me some because Kevin watches the channel, and if you're watching, Kevin, I appreciate you. It's Commonwealth Picker. I love that man. He's I
love Commonwealth. Commonwealth Picker's a good guy.
Yep. He's a good example of what we should be as humans. Okay, so what is your favorite item to purchase for reselling? What's in your wheelhouse?
Yeah, I sell a lot of different things, John. I mean, I'm all over the place kind of with things. I don't know if I have a diehard number one favorite thing. I mean, I like to sell video games because one, they sell really well usually. But for me, like, I test everything that I sell. And even if I only sell the game for $8 shipped or whatever, I'm going to test it. I have pretty much all the systems to do so. And I won't be able to sleep at night if I don't test it and I sell it, you know. So the fun part is obviously, making money, but testing the games as well, getting to play some of these older games. So video games or even action figures, I do I do real well with He-Man and G.I. Joe, and surprisingly, I do well with even broken figures. I don't know if some of my videos like things that are missing arms and legs, and just disclose it and take good pictures. And you know, people are looking to you know, they fix them up or they need other parts of it for their missing arm or whatever.
Yeah, make custom figures, all kinds of stuff. We have a little rum dum shop here locally, and I went there tonight, and they had two GI Joe games in the box, and they were the board games where you set up it was a Cobra versus Joe, and you laid the boards out, and the guy's gonna get back to me. I'm gonna buy them from him, and he's my guy. He hooks me up because we're friends. We used to go to church together, and he calls me when they get video games and stuff in like that, and he knows that I'm always there to help them, give them advice for running their shop, and that's really important in this game, is to make friends and make connections and be able to have allies. So you've been doing it for not a long time, a couple years, you said, but what I'm interested to know is, what's the most profitable thing you've ever flipped? Have you in that one item yet? Have you found that one item that you paid like $1 for and sold it for $500?
Yeah, I mean, I have, maybe a few examples. Probably the one big one is I buy a lot of storage lockers and sell the contents of those storage lockers. And I've done pretty well on storage lockers in the past. And one of my early purchases was a storage locker that was, I guess the guy had some kind of like sporting goods store. It was mostly like lacrosse items. So there was like lacrosse balls and shoulder pads and like not the sticks, but the netting part where you catch the ball, like the heads of the lacrosse sticks were in there.
Right.
But in this storage lock, I paid like $115 for the whole locker. And in this storage locker was a big stand-up dehumidifier, like a commercial dehumidifier. It was like Dry Ease, DRIEZE or whatever it was, if you want to search it one day. It's like one of the big stand-up ones, right?
Right.
And John, I sold this thing for like, first I didn't think anyone would buy it at all. And there's such a huge market for that. I sold it for like $950.
My gosh.
Yeah, I know. And a guy drove up from Virginia Beach to Central PA where I live. So it's like 5 hours away. He drove and picked it up and drove back in one day. Yeah, it was a big score for me. And he has a business, and I guess they go for, new for a couple thousand or whatever. And depending on how many hours are on the machine, like mine was pretty low hours and it was really good condition. I mean, I guess the guy had it in his sporting goods store and then just stored it away and then never paid the rent or whatever happened. But yeah, that was probably my biggest flip. So I'm always on the lookout for those. Now I can't believe it was like in the picture too. Like, when you can only see like 3 or 4 pictures of the storage unit before you go buy it. Like, I don't know how somebody didn't, get that before I did, or only let me get it for $150, but
that's, I mean, and that's the kind of pickup that you want, because I mean, I'm sure you found other things in the unit, the other sporting good equipment that makes really good money. And that's just, I love it. Do you have any crazy or strange reselling stories? Anything weird ever happened to you yet? I've told the story about going and getting in someone's house one time, and they wouldn't let me leave. So I had to threaten that I had somebody in the car with me, and if I didn't show up soon, they're going to call the police. That's the weirdest thing. That's one of the weirdest things that's ever happened to me.
I don't have any crazy stories like that. That is a little extreme. Probably the worst thing that ever happened to me is that I bought a storage locker one time, and so all you could see from the pictures was storage totes and like 2 trash bags. And the storage totes were the good ones. If you go to like Home Depot or Lowe's, like they're called HDX, like they're thick black plastic with yellow lids. Like they're really like heavy duty storage totes. And it was packed. It was like a 5x10 or whatever. It was packed with storage totes and these bags. And I thought it was going to be a score. And it got bid up a lot. Like I think I ended up paying like $700 for it. It was a lot of money. And I opened up every one of those storage totes, John, had literally bags of trash. Like,
Oh no.
go to your kitchen and take your trash bag out of your trash bag, out of your trash can, and put it in one of those storage totes. And that's all was in that locker.
That is horrible.
It was horrible. And, you know, I had to clean it all out. And, but I ended up selling those. So those storage totes go for some good money. I found out. I cleaned them, every one of them out. I think there was like 25 totes in all. And I sold them in lots of 5 on like offer up and let go. So I ended up making like $200 back, I think, just in the storage totes alone, close to it, 175, I think. I mean, I definitely lost money on the unit. Don't get me wrong, but
you get some. If you can get some of it back.
Yeah, it was terrible. That's the worst story. I haven't had any. I don't know if I've had anything crazy happen, but that was pretty. I was not happy that day. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, and that's the crazy stuff. I bought a storage locker, and it turned out it was about the same. It's just like everything in the locker was greasy, filthy. Greasy, like greasy is the word. It was the greasy locker. And I don't know if they had a fryer in there or something that it got hot and some of that grease evaporated, or if it was just grease. It was just, I don't know, but it was. I filled my dumpster up out back, heaping, but I did pull a couple things out of it. But then the same dumpster that I bought stuff out of, I actually pulled out some letters that were written from the very first woman who ran for president, and it was correspondence between a local gentleman and the lady that had ran for president for the first time. And I was like, man, that's a piece of history. I'm excited to have that. And I kept it and put it in my personal collection because I think that's, it's important. That's something that's an important women's rights, a moment in history for women's rights. I'm like, I'm keeping that. That's pretty cool. But there's the storage lockers. Just man, they ain't my game. I don't know how you guys do it. It's the same way with like getting in the dumpsters and stuff like that. It's not my game. I'd probably get arrested in this area though. So somebody gets in my dumpster out back all the time. We've been here for a year, and the same guy comes and rips open every bag of trash that I put in that dumpster. I don't know what he's looking for, but he ain't found it yet. If you had to pick one category to resell in, what would it be? One category. If you had to narrow it down to one category, what would it be?
Collectibles? Is that a category?
That'd be a category.
That's a huge category. Probably, I don't know. Probably video games. Yeah, it's just they're right. Maybe it's just right now that they're so easy to sell. Either video games or like action figures. Just because they're everywhere and they usually sell pretty well. I mean, if you can get them at a good price, they flip pretty quick. So probably those two. It definitely wouldn't be something like clothes. I do find a lot of clothes in storage lockers, and I try to sell like things I think are worthy of selling on eBay or one of the other marketplaces. But I'd love to find someone that would I could trade clothes for something, you know what I mean? Some hard goods for, like if there was a clothing seller near me that would take my clothes and I could take their whatever they have a lot of or whatever. I don't know.
Right. And that's for me, if I had to pick one category to sell, it'd be ephemera. And it's one, because I'm lazy. And two, because I absolutely love antique papers. It's just so valuable that I had pulled out 3 menu receipts of a guy that was on a steamboat up in the Great Lakes, and they were from 1898. And I sold 2 of those so far for over $100 a piece and paid $1 for them at an auction. Right. And I've still got one more to go, and that's just good money. I did so well with ephemera. What got me hooked on it was I went to an auction one time, and in the garage, in a plastic tote, not even like some antique wooden box, I found hundreds of letters that were written by Civil War soldiers. Wow. And I picked it up for $15.
Oh my gosh.
We made enough money to buy a nice used car off that. That was amazing. And that was here in town. So you just never know what you're going to find. Auctions. What would be your format if you had to pick one way to buy stuff? This is a question I've never asked anyone before. If you had to pick one method of purchasing, like auctions, estate sales, yard sales, we'll incorporate garage sales into that. personal picks. What would you do if you could only? What do you think's the best way to source merchandise?
Oh, man, that's a good question. I don't know. Estate sales has to be up there because there's a lot of people that they know what the most common things are, and they price those accordingly. But you can find a lot of good deals in an estate sale. I love estate sales. I love storage lockers though too, man. People just they store that stuff away. You just never know what you're going to find. But probably the best thing I think is a private pick. I think if somebody that knows you and knows you buy, and you have cash, and when you make those connections, and it's kind of easy in a way, you know what I'm trying to say? Like you just
Right.
call your guy, or your guy calls you, or however it works. I think a private pick, it's just, there's just, what he has, he knows what you buy, it's just easier that way for me. I think I've done real well with private picks as well.
Hey, yeah, that's a good idea. Hey, Steph's Universe, thanks for stopping in tonight. She's awesome. She's got so much energy, and I don't know where it all comes from. I like to give a shout out to Cosmic Thrifter. I love her. She comments on my videos, and she's such a uplifting person. And my brother, not my literal brother, but he feels he's family. I mean, you have those people that are like family. Like we grew up together, went to school together. He's family. My brother Robert Brotherton, he's here. I appreciate it. Every time you show up, man, it really makes me happy, bro. I love you, and I have 2 kidneys. You ever need one of them's yours. And that's he's one of my guys. You have those friends from when you were a kid. Yeah, that's him. He's a friend from when I was a kid.
Cosmic Thrifter says she's been selling vinyl records every day for the last couple months there.
Right. And you can vinyl records. If you find the good stuff, that stuff is hot right now. Hot.
Yeah.
What does your future hold on YouTube and reselling?
Well, on YouTube, hopefully once Pennsylvania opens back up, I can do some videos like, thrift store hauls or estate sale videos, storage locker buys. I can't really do any of those videos now because none of those things are open, or they're very limited right now in the state of Pennsylvania. So I hope to do that in the future, those videos. I love making YouTube videos. It's fun. I really like the interaction with the people in the chat and people that follow me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the people that I've met on YouTube, the friends that I have made. I don't have a lot of friends like local, right, but there's people on YouTube that they're there for me. Like there's people I hang out in private chats like with Jason Static. I hang out with Craig Murray. Shane, Rise and Grind Picker, Barry, the thrifting Santa Claus. I call him Santa. I call him Bad Santa. Once you get to know him, he's Bad Santa. And and just Dusty, Alabama Picker, Scott. Love Scott, love Harlan. And I've made so many great friends. Those are people that I know and I've talked to and I've hung out with. And Eric Dominic, we call him the Laughing Picker. He's not a YouTuber, but that's his unofficial YouTube name. And, there's people that we create community with. There's people that are now coming up on my list, like, Mike and Oscar and Alex. And, there's just so many people that I've made awesome connections. I know I'm forgetting people. But Tommy, I love Tommy, Buffalo Picker. That dude is solid. And for a man that size to be okay with talking about Barbies on camera, he don't care what no one says.
Right.
If I was that big, I wouldn't either. We call him the assassin because he works for the government. We have no idea what part of the government he works for, but we've said he's the assassin. So we don't mess with him too much. But so like I said, it's really interesting. I'm going to ask you a couple more questions that I normally don't ask because we're only at 30 minutes, and I find you to be pretty interesting. And but I would like to know what surprised you the most about reselling. Like when you got into it, you said you've been doing it for a couple years now.
Yeah.
What surprised you? What was the one thing that you were like, whoa, I didn't realize that?
Yeah, I think maybe I don't know if it surprised me that much or just I found it to be the toughest early on is like the shipping part of it, like the logistics. Like you really have to have that part of it down. Or for me, it surprised me just how many options there were, UPS and Postal Service and FedEx and, whatever. Now there's pirate ship. I mean, all these different ways, and first class and priority and, whatever, other options are out there. I think it was just, I thought, hey, you buy stuff, you put it in a box and you send it off, and how hard could it be, for like free shipping and, calculated shipping or flat rate shipping. I mean, it's just, I think if you're going to start out, or when you first start out, it's good to get a good handle on the shipping part of it. At least for me, it surprised me how much there was to it. I think when I first started.
And I've tried to teach a couple of people about, they had the eye they could buy,
right?
Or they had the tenacity to list.
Yep.
They didn't even mind packaging the items, but the thing that kept them from moving forward in this business was being able to overcome the obstacle of shipping. We take it for granted, a lot of us, that we know how to ship items and we know what processes to use. We know about pirate ship. We know FedEx is good for big items, but some of the people getting into the community, they have no idea. And I think that it would be really good for someone to make a bunch of videos about that stuff. It would be a great opportunity for a content creator to create, I think, a good name of a YouTube channel, and someone can run with it. So you want to sell on eBay. And that's what I would do. It'd be my YouTube name. So you want to sell on eBay. There's a guy that came out the other day. It was like, it was something, Dad, how do you do this, or something like that. And the dude has been on YouTube since April, and he's already got like 1.2 million subs.
Oh my gosh.
He's only put out a handful of videos, but it's, I can't remember the name of the channel, but if anyone watches Brian G, if you're into learning about YouTube and stuff, he did a really cool video on him today. And, yeah, Kathy's going, whoa. She's like, I thought I was doing good. Yeah, right. That dude is murdering it. Yeah, 1.3 million subs in 2 months. And it's amazing. But yeah, that's pretty cool. What would be one piece of advice that would you give a reseller who is getting into the game? I didn't send you these questions. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to put you on the spot or anything, because I think you're smart enough to handle this stuff. That's why.
I would say just go for it. You know what I mean? I would just say just go do it. I think sometimes, I've talked to people and they're like, well, it's hard on you or on eBay, and I don't want to deal with customers, that return things or whatever. I would say just do it. I say, if you're just honest and upfront as much as you can be, good listing, good description. If there's something wrong, just list it in the description. And, you're going to have people that return things. You're going to have people that are upset with you or your item for whatever reason it is. It shouldn't stop you if you have a good eye, like you said, and you're a hard worker, because that's what it takes. The ability to find items at a good price, and then you got to put in the hard work to list them on eBay or multiple platforms or whatever. But don't let the the interaction with customers stop you. There's a lot of good information out, in the YouTube community. That's how I learned, just a little bit at a time. And you make mistakes, and so what? You just don't make that mistake again. I remember the first item I ever sold on eBay, John. If you give me a minute, I'll tell you. It was I used to go to the bins, because I think everyone starts with clothes, or a lot of people start with clothing because they either have it around their house and they're not wearing it anymore or whatever, it doesn't fit, and it's easy to kind of take pictures of and list, right? You just put it out there and then put it in a bag and sell it. Well, I used to go to the bins, and it was like, I think it was the winter time. It was like fall when I first started, and I saw on eBay that like kids snow pants were selling real well. Right. So I went to the bins and I got all these snow pants, and I listed this first pair, and it was like really cool. It was like pink and black. It was like a girl's like a little 4 or 5 year old girl, whatever, snow pair of pants. It was really cool. And I sold it to this lady, and she sent me a note back. She goes, you must be a brand new eBay seller, because and then she listed like the 16 things that were wrong with the pair of pants, like on there, right? Like it had Velcro straps, and like some of the backing of the Velcro on the one side was like completely like hanging off, like, there was like a 6-inch rip in one of the legs. There was a stain on the other leg. I was like, oh, it was a mess. Like it was a total mess. And it was one of the first items I sold on eBay. And you know what? I apologized to her. I gave her a full refund. I mean, obviously I just didn't do enough. I didn't look at it hard enough. I didn't do enough.
It happens, and that's the thing that you never know how it's going to work.
Yeah.
What is what if anyone has any questions for Mike? We're about 35 minutes in. I like to keep these between 30 and 40 minutes. So if anyone has any questions, now would be a good time to put them in the chat. Just put like a couple question marks in front of them. And but someone did have a question. He goes, "Are you an auction buyer?" Ken Green said, "Are you an auction buyer?" Thanks for the question, Ken.
Yeah, Ken, I have bought I'm in Pennsylvania. There are a lot of auctions here in central Pennsylvania. So I've gone to physical, live auctions here in Pennsylvania. But lately, with the situation that we're in, everything's locked down here. So I've been buying a lot online at various auctions. Just there's so many of them out there, and I just pop in and out. And I look for lots. Sometimes some of these other sellers are selling things that I'm not, real familiar with. Like I just bought a bunch of Warhammer figures from.
Those are good money.
Well, Mike at Global Voodoo has an auction on Friday nights, and I know Warhammer sells. I mean, I know they're collectible. I know people, buy them and play with them and collect them and whatever. I've never sold them. I didn't really know much about them, but I got them at a good price, and I'm always willing to learn about things like that if I can get it for a good price. But I do buy at auctions, both in person and online. And what's on my koozie? So I'm from originally outside of Philadelphia, is where I grew up. So we are diehard, Philly fans, Eagles, Flyers, Phillies, Sixers. And I actually got this koozie in Minnesota when I watched the Eagles win their first Super Bowl by beating the New England Patriots.
I love the Patriots.
I brought this back from Minnesota. Yeah, that's on my koozie.
That's pretty cool. It looks like I want to ask because I realized I didn't have my headset on. I've been talking to you. I have like a little computer that I use for my streaming, and there's a little speaker that's on the front of it. I want to make sure that none of this echoes through. It help me out for future streams. That way, I know whether or not I need to wear my headphone. What the thrifting or Mary or the thrifting Goomba wants to know, what made you get into having auctions?
Right. Yeah, that's a good question. So for me, my slow times of the week, for me, it seems to be my slow sales days are Tuesdays and Wednesdays. For some reason, I don't sell much on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. Like, I mean, I sell things, but not like I do on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then, Sunday kind of starts dripping down Monday. But then Tuesday and Wednesday are kind of really, really slow for me. So I saw all these people doing auctions. And actually, I was on Global Voodoo's channel one night, and he brought me into his StreamYard chat like this. He was just talking with Delvin, and he said, "Come on in and talk." He really got me started on YouTube and selling auctions. And I told him I wanted to start, maybe doing it because I had slow sales. And he said, "Turn around, grab something off that bookcase behind you, and we'll auction it off." Video games, and I auctioned off like 2 lots, and it was really, it was easy. I mean, I had his audience, so. There was a lot of people in there, and I just learned, and
right.
I'm gonna do it myself.
Such a generous guy.
Yeah.
It looks like Steph's Universe wants to know, name an item you listed that you were surprised that it sold.
Oh my gosh, man, I don't. There's so many things. Like I sold, I've sold so many things like that. I was surprised that it actually sold. Like broken toys at the like always surprises me when I've sold just old vintage G.I. Joe heads. Like right. I didn't know you could sell like the fuzzy headed guy. Like if you ever see any of that stuff, like pick any of that vintage G.I. Joe stuff up if you can get it for a good price. One time I went to a estate sale, and they had like a cash and carry table in the basement, and it was just random things. And this lady must have been like a Mary Kay consultant there at one time or whatever, and she was getting rid of all her stuff, and there was just big Ziploc bags full of Mary Kay stuff. And I bought it just because I know people buy Mary Kay, and I ended up selling like a lot of it, and I learned about foundation and eyeshadow and
learned about it.
Yeah,
he knew going in. He goes, that's some good stuff right there. It's my color.
Yeah, right.
You probably don't. You would just need some blush for your cheeks. Because you got the beard. You'd be okay.
Right.
That's awesome. I've bought some Mary Kay and stuff like that before too. I just can't help it. I love that I love that Jason Static head emoji. It just makes me happy. But that's pretty cool. Well, it looks like we've had all the questions. There's one more. My buddy Robert wanted to know the coolest old school gamer action figure you have found and really wanted for yourself.
Cool. I don't know if it's the coolest, but whenever I find a original Nintendo Legend of Zelda game, like I used to play that game with my dad when I was younger. Like I got a Nintendo like the year after, not the first year it came out, like 86 I got. I think it came out in 85 and I got it in 86. My parents got it for me. And my dad and I used to play Legend of Zelda all the time. And I just thought it was so cool that my dad was playing with me and stuff. And like he ended up playing video games like, Final Fantasy. He loved like those role-playing games and stuff like that. But it was always the Legend of Zelda, that first one that got him started, and it makes me think about him all the time. I mean, I always sell it when I get it because it's worth some good money. But I do always think about keeping it when I find one.
I love, I played Legend of Zelda when I was a kid. I love that. And I love Final Fantasy. I played Final Fantasy 2, the one on like Super Nintendo, and literally played that game so much that I completely, like when you took the little rocket ship to the moon, I played that game for like 3 weeks solid just on the moon, maxed out all of my character's health. So when I finally got to the last boss, it was just like super easy to fight it and kill it. I didn't use no game genie, no cheats, no nothing. We played the hell out of that game. Me and all the neighborhood kids, we had a great time. Yeah. And then when we got older, me and Bobby, we'd play like Sega. He had a Sega, and then we found girls in video games.
Right.
It kind of went away, didn't they, Bobby?
Your interest changed.
Driver's license, and then we never played video games again. But I will say that me and Bobby, remember not Phantasmagoria. What was the name of that game, Bobby, that we stayed up for 24 hours and we played it all the way through until we beat it? It was at my house in the farmhouse. It was the thriller game where it was just you walk through. I can't remember the name of it, but it was an amazing game. But we would play some computer stuff because I got a computer when I turned like 15, and then got the internet a little bit later. And we didn't play a ton of stuff, but Bobby's still big into like the toys and the stuff like that. He was a Walmart manager. In fact, what's really funny is that me and him worked in the toy department. Well, Bobby's a good looking dude. Like he looks kind of like a cross between like Tom Cruise and who's the guy from Back to the Future, the guy that played
Marty McFly.
Marty McFly, yeah. I don't know what his name.
Michael J. Fox.
Michael J. Fox. So like we worked in toy department. I kind of worked, and Bobby would always be back. There was one aisle. There's the girls always worked in the shoe department. And there were some pretty girls that worked back in the shoe department. And there was an aisle that was toys and then shoes. So Bobby would get in that aisle back there and he'd clean up the books. And man, I tell you what, that book aisle was the cleanest aisle in the whole store. He was always the Romeo, man. That dude got the girls. He just bat them eyes at them, and I don't know how it worked, but he has his way. But we worked in the toy department together, and that's where we were out of high school. He got me a job working there at Walmart with him. And we love toys. We'd be talking about toys all the time. And that's just why he's asking those questions. But
yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. I just, like I said, it's just that we were just goofy kids. Me and that dude has some stories, but I ain't going to tell them right now. But it says, I'll find out and let you know. Stop. He's my age. He's 40, and I think his current girlfriend is like, I think she's 18 or 22 or something like that. You're laughing. The dude, I mean, like he reminds me of what was that, Days of Confused? He goes, I keep getting older.
Right.
Same age.
Same age.
You'll be messaging me on the phone going, shut up.
Right. Stop talking, you, he said.
Yeah, it made us some good money. Me and him, we used to, I'm just going to tell this one quick story. We used to have a thing going where we knew what cases of Hot Wheels came in, and we knew by the codes on the Hot Wheel which one had treasure hunts. So we would we knew when to dump the cases of Hot Wheels. One of us would go off and we'd buy the treasure hunts, and then we'd share them.
Right.
Like get one, then I'd get one, and then we'd eBay them and make money. And we would also if a guy came in with his kids and hey, man, we've been looking for treasure hunts forever. Bobby and me, we're both really good guys. You're like, hey, we got you, man. We'd go to the back, pull out a case of Hot Wheels, be like, there's going to be a treasure hunt here. And we'd either put them on the peg hook or dump them into a bin. And it was fun. But
yeah,
it's friendships. That's the thing. I hope that I get to know you a whole lot better, Mike. I think you're a great guy. I think we have a lot in common, and I really appreciate you. We're going to, if you have anything that you'd like to promote, now's a good time to be talking about any of that. And we're going to wrap this up so we can get back to doing what we got to do.
Yeah. Well, listen, just want to say thanks for having me on the show, John. I really appreciate it. I've been a follower of yours for a long time now. Great content. If anyone is here from my channel, please subscribe to John's channel. It's great content. And then, the only thing, if you're not following me, give me a shot on YouTube. Like I said, I try to put a video out every day. They're not very long. They're usually pretty quick hitters, so you can pop them in and see what I'm selling. And then if you're not busy on Tuesday nights, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, I do live auctions on my channel as well. So some interesting things, video games, DVDs, some clothes sometimes. And that's it. So everyone be well, be safe, and thanks.
I want to thank everybody for watching. I would love for you to go over and subscribe to him. I don't know. He said you do Instagram, so I will put his links down below when this video is over. And I'm going to let you guys know, whoever stayed and watched this video, the 27 people that are here right now, I want you guys to comment on this video when we're done. I want you to comment. I want you to go in and be like, hey, Mike's a good guy. Hey, John, you're an idiot. Quit talking about your friend and his young, hot girlfriend. Nobody wants to hear that. Whatever you want to write. Sorry, Bobby. Whatever you want to. He's going to get me next time he sees me.
He's going to get you.
And the winner, one of the winners is going to get one of these Nevermore Antique stickers. I'm going to send it out to you in the mail. I'll add that into one of my next videos. And so comment down below when this is over, not in the side chat now, but come back later, put a comment in the video, and we will give one of you lucky viewers one of these really cool high quality vinyl stickers. And if you would like one of the new stickers, the ones that are in my community tab, all you have to do is join the channel, become a member, support me, support my endeavors to become a world famous YouTuber. I would really appreciate that. And I will send you guys out a sticker for free. You could join it and then cancel your subscription. Not that I want you to do that, but you could do it. I'm not going to not like you anyways. So that's the show tonight. Hope you guys like it. Next week, we will be hitting up the Suburban Beard again because that went to hell real quick last week. YouTube crashed, and we were done. So he will be back next week for that interview. So be thinking of questions that you would like to ask him. Come back and see us. You guys have a good evening. Keep on digging. Keep on picking. God bless you guys. And remember, the family that picks together sticks together. Good night.